Americans try to do the jobs of migrants. But what happens when those who claim that anyone can do it try to do the hardest and lowest paid jobs in the country? Is it really as easy as they say to pick crops under the sun, clean other people's houses, work in construction or in fast-paced kitchens? Why can't so many people last even a single day? In this video, you'll see how the rhetoric changes when faced with the reality that millions of migrants experience every day, and you'll understand why this type of work requires not only strength, but also a resilience that many underestimate until they try it. The U.S. agricultural and construction industries are facing an unprecedented crisis. Thanks to ICE crackdowns, thousands of Latino workers, the backbone of specialized tasks, have vanished, leaving producers and businesses mired in uncertainty. In their place, attempts are being made to replace that valuable experience with American citizens who, in many cases, have never even picked asparagus. This forced change has created an enormous gap in productivity, efficiency, and commitment. Fields without harvesters, construction sites without laborers, and notable differences in work performance are symptoms of a challenge that puts the entire investment and future of the sector at risk. Every day, producers watch a tradition forged in sweat and dedication crumble, threatening not only food security, but also the livelihood of entire families. Can decades of experience really be replaced by inexperienced hands? Subscribe and join us to discover the devastating impact affecting these essential sectors. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the news that traditional media outlets are hiding from you.
La mayoría de ellos nunca había recogido espárragos en su vida.
Could definitely get hard on the back and the knees for sure. There's plenty of raw.
The situation grows even more complex as ICE crackdowns intensify, having devastating consequences for the agricultural sector. Thousands of Latino workers, who were an integral part of the workforce in numerous farms and fields, have been forced to abandon their jobs after being deported. This has left many employers without the experience and commitment required for harvesting, collecting, and processing foods. Mayers, owner of a company dedicated to cultivating, marketing, and shipping vegetables, expresses in an anguished tone, "We can't get people to show up to do the work for $16 an hour, with housing, transportation, and all that." These words resonate as a desperate plea. The reality is that following the crackdowns, the specialized workforce has disappeared, forcing many employers to hire American citizens with no previous experience in agricultural work. The transition has not been easy, since most of these new workers have never, in their lives, had to pick asparagus, a task that for years Latinos performed with unparalleled efficiency. In the fields, the difference is immediately noticeable. While Latino workers know every harvesting technique by heart thanks to years of practice and dedication, the new American employees face a monumental challenge: performing heavy tasks that require very specific skills. The difference in work pace is staggering. Viral videos on social media have captured, in a striking manner, images of white guys attempting to do the work of bricklayers, whether in harvesting or in construction, grudgingly and slowly, evidencing a clear gap in performance and commitment. Comparisons can be seen where the speed, precision, and enthusiasm of Latino workers contrast remarkably with the slowness, indecision, and lack of focus of the new American hires. These videos have not only generated astonishment, but also concern in the sector, as they illustrate how experience and practice are irreplaceable when carrying out tasks that demand great physical capacity and skills acquired over time. The crisis is not limited solely to agricultural fields. The devastation extends to construction, a sector that also heavily relied on the work of thousands of migrants who served as bricklayers, plumbers, delivery drivers, electricians, and carpenters. With the absence of these workers, projects come to a standstill, and construction companies find themselves in a critical situation. The streets in some industrial areas now resemble ghost towns, and hundreds of stores have been forced to close due to a lack of personnel. During a recent tour of Miami, observers noted firsthand, "Look, there are no workers. Everything is empty," reflecting the labor shortage that has forced employers across various sectors to rethink their hiring strategies. The absence of competent workers has compelled employers to try covering vacancies by hiring American citizens. However, the problem is that many more workers are needed to cover the work that used to be done by a single Latino worker. In many crews, the reduction is so drastic that instead of having 30 people, only 8 to 10 arrive. This reduction translates into an increased workload for those remaining, directly affecting productivity and heightening the risk of crop deterioration and delays in construction projects. One of the most notable consequences has been the proliferation of videos documenting the difficult transition of Americans to jobs traditionally performed by Latinos. In these recordings, one can see some men, visibly uncomfortable and reluctant, trying to perform masonry work and heavy activities in agricultural fields. The difference is striking. While Latino workers perform their tasks with speed, precision, and a remarkable sense of commitment, the Americans show clear slowness and a lack of skill. These videos have become irrefutable evidence that experience and training are indispensable for good performance in such demanding tasks. On the other hand, deported migrants have bitterly noted that, unlike them, citizens in the United States are paid much better, enjoying benefits such as vacation time, benefits, health insurance, and overtime. Frequently, there are complaints that Latinos are not paid what they are legally entitled to. Some testimonies indicate that payroll boxes are barely liquidating 20 cents per unit, a figure that starkly contrasts with the higher wages many American workers now receive. This salary disparity highlights a paradox. While employers prefer to hire undocumented migrants, whom they can pay a lower wage and keep under the constant threat of dismissal or deportation, the new American workers, even though they earn higher wages, lack the experience needed to meet the demanding requirements of the job. The situation worsens further when considering that most of the American workers hired have never undertaken high-yield agricultural tasks. That is, many of them have never even picked asparagus, a task that Latinos excel at due to years of practice. This lack of experience translates into significant inefficiency and work rates far below what the sector requires to remain competitive. Business leaders are forced to seek immediate solutions, and some have vehemently called on President Trump to restore the presence of Latino workers, who are perceived as exceptionally efficient and dedicated employees. One worker sincerely stated, "All I wish is to be allowed to work, just so I can help my family." This sense of anger and resignation extends throughout the sector, as many Latinos work even on weekends, holidays, and during their vacations without expecting anything in return, demonstrating a commitment that is hard to find among inexperienced American workers. The dilemma is clear. Who works harder, Americans or Latinos? This question has become the center of a heated debate that values the experience, work rate, and resilience acquired through years of labor under difficult conditions. The differences are not just quantitative but qualitative. Latinos bring a skill and passion to their work that, according to numerous testimonies, allows them to optimize every task, whereas the lack of experience among the new American employees slows the process, causing production losses and ultimately putting the viability of crops and the investments of business owners at risk. Business owners and producers are very aware of the value of a skilled workforce and have stressed the importance of retaining the workers who have contributed to the sector's success for decades. Without them, not only is food production endangered, but companies also lose their ability to compete in an increasingly globalized and demanding market. The absence of a specialized workforce leads not only to deteriorating crops, but also to a decline in overall work quality, which can translate into economic losses that affect the entire supply chain. Remember, if you don't want to be the only one missing out on everything that's coming up, subscribe to the channel. Amid this situation, Diverse voices within the sector are calling for recognition of the importance of experience and for valuing the abilities of Latino workers. It is noted that, unlike many Americans who prefer to hold office jobs or collect government support, Latinos give their all to fieldwork, even at the expense of sacrificing days off and personal time. Their commitment is such that many willingly work under difficult conditions with a sole motivation of supporting their families and sending money back to their countries of origin. These qualities have enabled the agricultural sector to continue functioning during times of crisis, and they are undoubtedly a fundamental pillar of the productive structure. The shortage of skilled workers has led to unsustainable situations on farms. Production tasks have become slower and less efficient, and hundreds of crops are at risk of rotting due to the lack of timely harvesting. This scenario not only affects the investment made each season, but also jeopardizes the very future of what has been planted, creating a vicious cycle of low productivity and economic losses. Business owners warn that if this trend continues, the uncertainty in hiring and the lack of specialized staff could result in the collapse of entire sectors, threatening not only agricultural production, but also the nation's food security. Despite the high wages and benefits that some American citizens now enjoy, which include vacation time, benefits, health insurance, and overtime, the inexperience and lack of practical knowledge among these new workers make the transition problematic. Offering attractive remuneration is not enough. The quality of work depends largely on the training and experience accumulated over years of labor in tough conditions. In comparison, Latino migrants stand out for their skill and commitment, attributes that are difficult to replicate in a group of inexperienced workers. This disparity creates tension and raises questions about the sustainability of efforts to replace an experienced workforce with one that is less qualified and more vulnerable to fatigue. The situation translates into a heavy burden for business owners, who are forced to invest time and resources in training staff that, in many cases, fails to meet the expected performance. The losses resulting from low labor efficiency add to other operational costs, affecting the sector's profitability and the competitive capacity of both the agricultural and construction industries. In the long term, this could threaten the very existence of many companies, leading to a domino effect of closures and layoffs that would negatively impact the entire economy. The devastating contrast between the efficiency of Latino workers and the inexperience of American workers has become a recurring topic in public debate. The figures and videos do not lie. The gap in performance, work pace, and commitment is staggering. Business owners and industry leaders point out that without Latino workers, the ability to compete in a global market would be severely compromised. Accounts from those who have worked in the fields are compelling. A supervisor, speaking desolately, remarked, "Not a single American would set his work priorities if he truly understood what it takes to harvest day after day under an unforgiving sun." In contrast, many Latinos remain on the job despite adverse conditions, long hours, and low wages, always driven by the determination to support their families and contribute to the sector's development. In short, what is being posed today is an immense challenge that goes beyond simply stabilizing a commercial season or maintaining the usual flow of labor in fields and construction sites. The crisis triggered by a lack of migrants, worsened by ICE raids, has forced many business owners to rely on American citizens who lack the experience and skills necessary for high-demand tasks. The difference in speed, performance, and commitment between Latino workers and the new employees is staggering, leading to hundreds of crops rotting and projects being left unfinished. In this complex scenario, it is essential to recognize that the experience and knowledge acquired over years are irreplaceable in demanding jobs, and that the shortage of skilled labor endangers both investments and the future of the agricultural and construction sectors. The inevitable question arises: who works harder, Americans or Latinos? This dilemma goes beyond wages and focuses on the capacity to perform tasks that require dedication, speed, and an in-depth knowledge of specific techniques. Amid this crisis, many business owners are calling for the return of Latino workers, whose commitment and efficiency have been vital to keeping the sector running. Your opinion is essential in this debate. Leave us your comment and subscribe so that together we can drive the real change that this country demands.